Hi everyone, it's Tara Bianca with Be Light Transformative Therapy, and today I wanted to address a question that came up in the comments a while back, but I thought it was worth taking a closer look at. So someone was asking, do breath holds and deep breathing contradict each other? Do these two separate techniques somehow cancel each other out completely? So the simple answer is no, but let's take a deeper look at why. Before we jump in, I just want to make one really quick announcement. There's still 1 week left to get unlimited 15% off inside of my brand new Be Light store as part of my grand opening celebration. For all of you who follow my channel because you're interested in breathing techniques and breathing tips, you might enjoy some of my digital products, including my brand new Breathing for Anxiety Relief video series, or maybe my Breathe Light booklet plus guided audio sessions, or I also have a collection of 4 mini courses called the Breath Bundle. So there's a lot of great tools to explore. I hope you'll check it out. Simply use code BELIGHTSTORE15 at checkout. Why would this question of deep breathing versus breath holding even come up? I think because at face value, the idea of deep breathing and the idea of breath holding seem like two completely opposite and contradictory techniques. So typically when we think of deep breathing, we really are imagining getting as much oxygen into the body as possible. And typically when we're thinking about breath holding, we're not thinking about getting any oxygen into the body at all, right? So totally separate ends of the spectrum. And so it becomes really challenging for our brain then to take these seemingly disparate concepts and try to bridge them, to try to find that similarity. And so it makes it very challenging for us to see them as potentially complementary techniques. And then even further, maybe on some level, they're also serving the exact same purpose. What is the purpose of deep breathing? And remember, I'm teaching right now, so you guys know by now that when I say deep breathing, I do not mean right? When I say deep breathing, I really mean something geographical. It's location-based. It means that you are pulling the breath deeply into your lungs, and it means that you are getting your lower ribs to expand. It does not have anything to do with being loud. It doesn't have anything to do with filling up completely. It doesn't have anything to do with activating all these accessory muscles to get the breath in. It just means deep. So it has nothing to do with the volume, and it has nothing to do with the speed, okay? So what is the purpose then of that type of deep breathing, that truly deep breathing? Let's break it down into 4 main purposes. Number 1, we're really focused on ventilating those alveoli, right? So the deeper we can bring our breath, the more chance we have of really ventilating those small air sacs deep in the lungs, improving gas exchange and oxygen uptake. Number 2, taking deeper breaths also tends to slow our breathing down because it has this longer transit time, right? And that combination of slow, deep breathing not only creates better gas exchange, but it also better manages our pH and our CO2 levels. So as we breathe deeply, slowly, regularly, it really helps us to establish a good baseline for our CO2 threshold and our CO2 tolerance. And what goes hand in hand with CO2 tolerance? Oxygen distribution, right? So remember that in this gas exchange factory that we're running, we have 2 really important and yet distinct jobs. So number 1 is oxygen uptake, which is rarely the issue in a healthy adult. And then number 2 is oxygen distribution, which we would always like to be able to optimize whenever possible. Number 3, deep breathing is more associated with a parasympathetic response. That's why everyone recommends it for nervous system regulation and for helping to create this sense of calm in the mind and in the body. So shallow breathing is really stress-inducing and keeps us stuck in sort of that fight or flight mode, whereas deep breathing, deep slow breathing, really helps to induce that parasympathetic response and get us into rest and digest mode. And then number 4, deep breathing is more associated with full diaphragmatic activation, which plays a huge role in posture, coordination, balance, spinal stability, and healthy movement patterns. What is the purpose of breath holding? Oof. This is not a black and white answer. This is really going to depend on you as the individual. So remember, breath holding is not appropriate for everyone, which means it's definitely not beneficial for everyone. It's also going to depend on how you are practicing your breath holds. So what method are you using? And it's also going to depend on how long you are holding your breath typically. So are you practicing something like those 5-second mini breath holds that I teach? Or are you holding your breath for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes? And then how are you holding your breath? Are you holding it after an inhale, after an exhale, or after a bout of hyperventilation? This sounds really familiar. I'm pretty sure I have a video about it. Again, since I'm the one teaching right now, for the purposes of this conversation, let's assume that you are holding your breath after a normal exhale. And the majority of you are probably going to fall into that 25 to 45 second range, depending on if you're practicing statically or dynamically. And then of course, some of you I know are up to a minute or more with your breath hold practice, but I don't think that's the bulk of you. Since I started out this video on the premise that breath holding and deep breathing might be more aligned in their purpose than what you might initially think, I'm going to take a look at those same 4 concepts that I mentioned earlier and see if they also hold true for breath holding. Number 1, we were talking about gas exchange and alveolar ventilation specifically. So after I take my normal exhale and hold my breath, I've blown off some CO2, but certainly not all of it, and there is less total air in my lungs. So the gases are going to be moving and diffusing a little bit more quickly. And so now I'm definitely not thinking about ventilating the alveoli on an exhale hold, but gas exchange is definitely happening, and it's speeding up as I continue to hold my breath. So this brings us more to point number 2, which was all about pH and CO2 tolerance. We are really training CO2 tolerance with this technique, especially as we continue to hold our breath. And so we're also working on oxygen distribution. So we're really focused on that second most important and distinct job in this gas exchange factory, distribution. Number 3, especially for the shorter breath holds, that slight elevation of CO2 in the blood without tripping into a stress response really helps to stimulate the vagus nerve and elicit more of a parasympathetic response in the body. So on some level, breath holds can be very calming to the nervous system. And then for our longer breath holds, those tend to train our resiliency, our adaptability, how we manage the stressors in our lives. So those longer breath holds too can really play an important and beneficial role in teaching us how to better regulate our nervous system response. And then number 4, there is this idea that exists out there that strong breath holds help to strengthen the diaphragm. And that's basically because as you continue to hold your breath, eventually your diaphragm is going to essentially contract against resistance, right? Having said that, I really don't want to set this one in stone because this concept is a little bit debated amongst the breath coaching community, and it is definitely not fully accepted by the exercise physiologists in the group, so I don't want to misspeak. But an argument could be made that strong breath holds increase diaphragmatic awareness, which then allows greater opportunity for strength gains in addition to greater coordination, stability, postural control, and movement control. In the end, I think that deep breathing and breath holding are more alike than they are different in terms of their intended purposes and benefits. And for the right person, they can both certainly be incorporated into a well-rounded breathing routine. What do you guys think? Was this breakdown helpful? Did you get any value out of this comparison? Do you personally practice both deep breathing and breath holding techniques? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Also, please come celebrate the grand opening of my brand new Be Light store, and please take advantage of the store-wide sale I have going on now through July 31st. You can get 15% off anything in the store by simply using code BeLightStore15 at checkout. If you're looking for a more structured breath program, then please sign up for my totally free Breath Basics 6-day challenge. And if you'd like more behind the scenes time with me, including monthly Q&As and live monthly guided breath sessions, then please consider joining me in my private online Be Light community. And lastly, if you'd like to further support the channel and the work that I do here, you may do so by visiting my Buy Me a Coffee page. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.